The Salvation Army is a Christian organization that goes hundreds of years back to its beginning in England. The Salvation Army in Knoxville has been there for more than 20 years. It feeds 500-600 people every week in the kitchen, but with other meals delivered to people, it is 1,000 people. It is funded mainly by United Way. The food is donated through Second Harvest Food Bank. In order to stay at the Salvation Army, you have to pay $10 to stay there every day. You have to volunteer 1 to 2 hours a week, and you are required to have a job. In the Salvation Army, there is a zero-tolerance policy for drugs and alcohol. People must take a breathalyzer and sometimes even drug screen in order to come there. Therefore, people at the Salvation Army are oftentimes more determined to change their lives. Mike Derivan is 43 years old and works as a head cook in the Salvation Army in Knoxville. He has worked there for 1.5 years after many years in the construction industry. He works in the kitchen 5 days a week and has to supervise the volunteers and the employees under him. Then he must cook the nightly meal, unload the truck with the donations, and put all the food away. He must also serve the food, clean the kitchen, and make it ready for the next day.
How you doing? I'm alright, buddy.
His work at the Salvation Army consists of many different things. Sometimes he has to function as a security guard if trouble happens with the clients. Frustration among the clients sometimes leads to accusation and rough talks, so that Derivan has to escort people out. He says that it's interesting work because he both works as a cook and a counselor and a bouncer. Derivan explains that you have to have thick skin to work in such an environment where people are going through hard times in their lives. Some of them will get very frustrated and take the frustrations out on you. It takes a lot of energy to work with people dealing with hard times. It can be very draining and depressing. At the same time, it's very rewarding when people do well. Success stories happen too. For example, some people are drug addicts for years, but are determined to change their lives. Some of them get back on their feet and get very successful. That makes Derivan happy, but the number of those who fail is bigger than those who succeed, and that hurts.
At the end of the day, I can hold my head up because I know even though I'm not making much money and I'm not doing what I really want to do, I help people all day long, every day, and that's pretty cool.
The Salvation Army has a family program, but in general there are much more resources to mothers and children. Therefore, they get into housing easier and do not stay in the shelter for long. Men are more left to themselves. They come in order to get back on their feet. A few follow through and get another job and save money, but some of them come back. Even though life in the Salvation Army can be depressing, they try to make some changes for the clients and the community. There's a new activity going on in the Salvation Army. Before, there was nothing fun to do in the backyard, so they decided that they wanted to create a garden where it would be a nice meeting place for church groups and Girl Scouts, but also a place for the employees and clients to do picnics and hang out. A Saturday afternoon, volunteers and local artist Christy Lynch met up in the garden to create a painting on the entire wall. From Master Garden Association and Beardsley Farm, they got tips on how to do the work in the garden. Before, there was asphalt all over, but now they have started growing things. Eventually, the food from the garden will be used in the kitchen. It's gonna take some time, but it's really bringing the community together, and it's a nice place for people from the outside to come and volunteer.